Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I'm going to show you a little bit of social engineering, and I've showed this on stream quite a few times, so if you've already watched the stream, you know what I'm going to do. But this is a huge lab that is kind of repeated a few times in different ways, so it's pretty important that you know how to do it. Another thing that I want to talk about is I'm skipping over some of the labs because going through them, a lot of them repeat, and what they are is they're old remote access Trojans. If you guys don't know what a rat is, it's a remote access Trojan. It gave someone a backdoor basically to your system, and there's multiple different ones that kind of all do the same thing in a sense. So some have different characteristics, but for the most part, what they did is they gave someone complete control of your system, and they could view your webcam or anything. And what it was simply a payload in the sense that you had to open it, you had to download it, and what the labs are showing is basically multiple different ones and just having you repeat it. So I'm not going to keep repeating it because we showed you guys how to get a payload or how to create a payload. A rat is just a payload that someone else made basically for you, and it has a GUI interface and things like that. So it's kind of a script kiddie tool. I don't want to teach that much. And the other thing with it is they just they're not they're don't get me wrong, they're still rats and things like that, but the ones they're showing are outdated tools. So I don't really need to show you those. They aren't in play as much anymore. The big thing is you just have to understand that a rat is a remote access Trojan, and that it's simply what it's going to do is take over your machine and give that person a backdoor into your machine. Okay, so now we've got that set. What we're going to cover today is social engineering toolkit. There's different Maltego, I think we covered in one of my earlier videos, but social engineering toolkit is a great tool. Okay, so when you open it, I don't know why this is so wide, but when you open it, we'll go ahead and show the options here. So you have social engineering attacks, penetration testing, third-party modules, update, social, whatever. Update, okay. So again, we're trying to cover social engineering. So we're going to just do one. So follow the menu. It's pretty easy. It walks you through it. Okay. And if you have the older Kali, you'll have a different page. It's not a big deal. They still do the same thing. So once again, it's asking you here. I don't know if you guys see that. There you go. Whether you want spear phishing, website, infectious media, create a payload, listener, mass mailer. So just a heads up, mass mailer, what that's going to do is basically ask you to send out a bunch of spam that will get someone to click on it. So keep in mind what you're doing because you could accidentally create something that you don't necessarily want to. Wireless access point attack vector, blah, blah, blah. So keep in mind that you need to know what you're doing a little bit with these because yes, these tools help you do the attack, but if you don't know what it is, it can be problematic. So like a spear phishing attack, if you don't know what a spear phishing attack is, don't use it. Simply as that, because a normal person typically isn't going to go for a spear phishing attack because it's spear directly towards a target. So what a spear phishing attack is, basically is going for the head honcho. So like a CEO of a company or something, trying to get him to click on an email. Typically what it's going to be is say something like class action lawsuit, something like that. And he might not click on it, but his secretary might to see like, oh crap, what happened, So that's the type of thing that you're directing at. Now, if I get an email personally that says class action lawsuit, like you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you don't click this link here. I'm not going to click it because not because I'm trained, but because I know there's no one trying to sue me, right? So that's why a spear phishing attack doesn't work unless it's directed towards a target specifically. Things like that. So, but we're gonna so that's why you just want to be careful what you're doing. Like mass mailer, again, you don't want to be sending out a million emails to people because that's considered spam and it can be problematic for you. Two is what we're going to do, website attack vectors. So basically what we're going to be using is a fake website, okay? So here's our attack options. We have Java applet, Metasploit, Credential Harvester, tab nabbing, webjacking, multi-attack, and HTA attack. So we're going to be doing Credential Harvester. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to take someone's credentials, okay? We want their name and password. Now you may ask why, and we'll kind of cover that here too, because the website I'm going to use, and it's just because I know it works, we're going to do Site Cloner. You can do your own websites. If you know HTML and you create your own website, you can use this tool. And a good cover for that is basically, if you're a website designer, tell someone, hey, this is my website, check it out, create an account, log in, whatever, and tell me what you think. And if you're an actual legit website designer and your website is legit and it looks good, most people, companies, things like that, you might get them because they might be looking for a new website for their company, things like that. As opposed to if I try and send you a link to just Facebook, most people are going to be like, why do I need to log into this Facebook? It's no different, right? So what we're going to do is Site Cloner, and I'll show you guys kind of the technique here. So Site Cloner, okay, so now it's just kind of giving you the warning here, or the basically guide of what's going on here. Now, this says IP address for the postback and harvest tab nabbing. So you notice it defaults to yours. That's fine. That's actually what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it as my default. I'm not going to change it or anything like that. So we'll just leave it. Enter the URL to clone. So this is where we're going to do https://facebook.com. Now, some websites, keep in mind, if you just do like, I don't know, any website and you just clone it, right? If that page isn't directed toward the login page, it's not going to show them the login page, okay? The reason that's important to know is facebook.com, if you just go to facebook.com, it's the login page. So this will take us to the login page. If you go to like yahoo.com, that's not the login page. When they click login, that's going to redirect them to the login, the real login at Yahoo. It's not going to take them to what you want. So make sure you're at that login page of the website, okay? So like if facebook.com was facebook.com/login, did not mean to do that. So like we'll go facebook.com, so like let's just say this was it, right? Let's say that took you to a different homepage and you had to do this. Make sure that you have that login in there. Okay, so we're just going to do facebook.com. Okay, cloning the website, so it takes a second. Okay, that's just telling you that you may have to, if you don't know what you're doing, don't worry about it. But so if it just says if you don't, or if you know, click enter, whatever. Okay, so now it's running on port 80. Okay, that's important because now what we're going to do is, remember this IP, the 192.168.94.128, okay? So now 192.168.94.128, hit enter, and look at that. It took us to the login page of Facebook. Now here's where the trick comes in, okay? So you can put whatever you want. Those are all made up accounts. One's a 10-minute email, the other one's a fake account. So we'll just do the admin@google.com, clearly fake account. And the password, we'll just do password 123456789. Log in. Now here's the cool thing. When you click log in, watch what happens. It just looks like it almost glitched, right? It's just kind of a glitch, but you're actually at the real Facebook now. Okay? So now when you log in, it's going to take you there. But people don't see what just happened. That's where it's important. So now we'll close this. And now here's our page. So now look, you've got a bunch of stuff going on. Okay? And I've already found the password and stuff, but I just want to show you guys. So there's a bunch of stuff, and what this is all the different connections and packets being sent. And you notice it's just looking for anything. So password file found, okay. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. So we're just going to scroll through until we find one. The red are the possible password fields. Okay, so what it's doing is it's basically spidering that website and trying to find the fields where you typed in the password and say this is what I think it is. Okay, so let's see. Do we find it? Do we find it? Nothing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Possible username field found. Admin@google.com. And password is password 123456789. Okay, so we got their credentials. Now tell me why you'd want that. Pretty simple. So 90% of people use the same password for everything, or a variation of that password, right? So now that we have the password, we can turn around and we can use that to try and log in their other accounts, their work accounts, their different bank accounts, if this is a banking company, things like that. You can use that password. You can use that password to create a password list, a word list, okay? And I've covered that on a stream. I don't believe I made a video on that. I may make a video on how to make word lists, even though it's not in the CEH, because it's pretty vital when you're doing stuff like this. But you can see here, you got their information. Now, no, I know a lot of you are thinking, just like I was when I first saw this for the very first time, is how many people are going to go to this IP address? That doesn't make any sense, right? Not to me anyway. What you're going to do is you're going to disguise that, okay? So anytime you've ever, and I'm not going to do it because I'm not sending this to anyone, but anytime you've ever sent an email out, okay, and you've added a link into that email, you can usually edit those and make it say, instead of, like let's say, oops, email. Let's just go to URL shortener. Okay. Watch. So we'll just go to Bitly. Bitly's a pretty famous one, pretty common. Shorten your link. Paste the link in there. Shorten it. And look, there's your code. So you've already changed it. That's a totally different thing. We paste it in and we go, and it takes us here. It's totally different. Okay. But it looks like this, right? Now, I know that the IP's still there, right, up here. So there's a couple ways to beat that. The main way would be if you can DNS poison them. So if you can change in their records that Facebook.com takes them to this IP, that's one way. Another way you could spoof it is, or another thing you can do is just, most people aren't going to look at that, and then when it glitches, when it logs them in and then logs or takes them back to Facebook, they're going to see it and go, oh, that's Facebook, right? So that's one thing that's very common, is people don't look at it once they're logged or once they're in. Another thing that you can do, like I said, if you put this in an email, I'm going to click it, not think twice, right? Now, another thing that you can do is if you do DNS poison them, what I mean by that is you can put in their DNS records that Facebook.com is this IP. If you do that, keep in mind that every time they try and go to Facebook, it's going to go to this, so you might get caught that way. There's different other things that people do. A lot of people, like, I don't know if Facebook.com, Facebook probably owns this, to be honest, but so like look, okay, so see, I went to Facebook with zeros instead of O's, and it took me to that site. So if you can register your domain as Facebook with 2 O's and get that way, there's a million ways that people do this, but that's the main thing I want to show you guys is when you guys have it up, the passwords are found, right? It found your password right, where was it? Right here. Admin or emails admin at Google and passwords 1 2 3 4 6 7 8 9. Now, that was just 10 seconds realistically, that I could have probably ran through this in 30 seconds, got this up and running because I've done it before. But you get this up and running, and then you send it to people. You get it to whoever, however. Now you will need to change the link. Keep in mind, like I said, no one's going to click on an IP address as a link, obviously. Now, where's this come in useful? If you're doing a CEH, or if you're doing a pen test, a real pen test, what you're most likely going to do is you're going to create a test website. So you're going to probably clone or upload a template for a website, like a password security type website where you do something like, hey, you call someone and you say, hey, because mind you, these are social engineering attacks. You're going to call someone and say, hey, I'm so and so with IT for your company. I need to check your password security. I just sent you a link. Go ahead and use that link, and it's going to take you to a test to see. You type in your password, and you're going to basically see how strong your password is. Is it strong? Is it weak? A good example of this, I'm sure we can find one real quick. Password security test. Okay. How secure is my password? Look, I cloned this website right here, and when you type in the password and I say A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, right? It gives it to me. Now, that's not a perfect example, but that's an example. So you clone a website like this and use it, and then call them and explain, hey, I just sent you a link, and you send it from an IT administrator. Most people are going to click on it, at least a couple. Once a couple people click on it, boom, you have their password. Now you're in. So keep these things in mind when you're thinking of social engineering, these types of attacks, because they're the most common attacks, okay? This is a very simple one. I didn't go crazy with this one. I just want to show you guys. The reason I wanted to show you guys is because, like I said, this is one of the first ones that I learned long ago. It was super easy. It kind of blew my mind how easy it was. But do this with your at home. Do this with your friends. Now, keep in mind, if you try to do this on your home network, nobody's going to be able to connect to you unless you have port forwarding. And I'm not going to explain all that on this video. If you guys need help with that, there you can join the Discord, or you can try and comment, and if I see it, I'll try and get back to you. If there's enough comments that are saying like, hey, I can't figure out the port forwarding thing, I'll make a video on port forwarding. But besides that, I'm not going to. It's pretty basic. You should know how to do it. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this. First, now keep in mind, this isn't an all-inclusive on SET or Social Engineering Toolkit. This is just the Credential Harvester portion of it. I may do some more on different things on here, but I really want you guys to see this so that your brain can think of ways to use this in a pen test environment. And I also want you guys to practice this, because this is an easy one to practice at home. You can have this set up on an internal network, meaning like at your home network, and have your mom click on it, have your dad click on it, have your brother come over and click on it, things like that, just to ensure that it works. See that if you can get them to do it, things like that, and obviously have their permission. Explain what's going on, say that you're trying to practice and you just want to see if you can use them as dummies type thing. There's a lot of ways to practice this, and this is one of the best ways. So I definitely recommend this. Give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think. And once again, make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm going to keep uploading videos, and I'm going to keep trying to grind them out while I'm here. And hopefully you guys like them. Thanks.